Mickey Rourke, the once iconic Hollywood rebel known for his intense performances and unpredictable life story, is once again making headlines, but this time it has nothing to do with a blockbuster movie or a comeback role. The 73-year-old actor has found himself at the center of a legal and personal storm after being ordered to leave his Los Angeles home due to nearly $60,000 in unpaid rent. And now, after days of speculation, rumors, and non-stop chatter across social media, Rourke has finally spoken out, revealing his side of the story and sparking an even bigger conversation about what really happened behind closed doors. The situation unfolded quietly at first, buried in court filings and legal paperwork that rarely make national headlines. According to documents filed in Los Angeles, the actor had been renting a home in one of the city's upscale neighborhoods under a lease agreement that required monthly payments of roughly $7,000. At first glance, that might seem like a manageable amount for someone with a long Hollywood career. But according to the landlord, the payments stopped coming. Month after month passed, and the unpaid balance reportedly continued to grow. Eventually, the total amount owed climbed to nearly $60,000. At that point, the property owner took legal action, issuing a formal notice demanding that the overdue rent be paid immediately or that the tenant vacate the property. When no payment was made, the situation escalated into a full legal eviction case. In many eviction disputes, tenants appear in court to argue their side, negotiate payment plans, or contest the claims. But in this case, something unusual happened. The legal case moved forward without a response from Rourke within the required timeframe. As a result, the judge issued a default ruling in favor of the landlord, canceling the lease agreement and granting the owner possession of the property. That decision effectively meant that the Hollywood actor had lost the legal right to remain in the home. For fans who grew up watching Mickey Rourke dominate the screen in some of the most memorable films of the 1980s and beyond, the news was shocking. Social media quickly erupted with questions. Some people wondered how a former Oscar-nominated actor could find himself in a situation like this. Others speculated about whether financial struggles might be behind the dispute. Many longtime fans also pointed out how strange it felt to see someone who once walked red carpets around the world suddenly appearing in headlines about eviction and unpaid rent. After all, Rourke was once considered one of the most magnetic and promising actors in Hollywood. His performances were intense, emotional, and unforgettable. For decades, he had been known as the kind of actor who could command the screen simply by walking into a scene. But the story took a dramatic turn when Mickey Rourke decided to publicly address the situation. According to the actor, the issue was never as simple as refusing to pay rent. Instead, he claims the house had serious problems that made living there extremely difficult. Rourke explained that the property had ongoing maintenance issues that he says were never properly fixed despite repeated requests. Among the problems he described were plumbing failures, pest infestations, and other conditions that he felt made the house nearly unlivable. According to Rourke, the situation went on for months. He says he repeatedly reached out to have the issues repaired, but in his view, the landlord failed to address them adequately. Imagine living in a home where basic systems stop working, where problems keep piling up, and where every attempt to get help seems to go unanswered. According to Rourke, that is exactly what he experienced. He described feeling increasingly frustrated as the conditions inside the house continued to decline. Eventually, he reached a breaking point. Rourke says he stopped paying rent because he believed it was unfair to continue paying for a home that he felt was in such poor condition. In his words, withholding rent was not a casual decision, but something he felt forced to do after exhausting other options. From his perspective, the situation was not about avoiding payment, but about demanding accountability. His explanation immediately divided public opinion. some people sided with the actor, arguing that tenants have a right to safe and livable housing conditions. They pointed out that disputes between renters and landlords often become complicated legal battles when maintenance problems are involved. Others, however, argued that refusing to pay rent altogether is a risky move that can easily lead to eviction regardless of the circumstances. Legal experts often point out that in many places, tenants are required to continue paying rent while pursuing official complaints or legal remedies regarding property conditions. As debate over the eviction spread across the internet, the story took another unexpected twist. Someone created an online fundraising campaign claiming it was intended to help Mickey Rourke cover the unpaid rent and avoid eviction. The campaign quickly gained attention among fans who still admire the actor and appreciate his unique place in Hollywood history. Within a short period of time, donations began pouring in. Supporters contributed money in hopes of helping the actor stay in his home. The total amount raised reportedly climbed to nearly $100,000. Many fans left messages of encouragement along with their donations. Some wrote about how much Rourke's movies had meant to them over the years. Others praised his resilience and the way he had fought through so many personal and professional struggles. For a brief moment, it appeared that the eviction crisis might be resolved through the support of fans. But when Mickey Rourke discovered the fundraiser, his reaction stunned everyone. The actor made it clear that he had never authorized the campaign and had no knowledge of it being created. In fact, he seemed deeply uncomfortable with the idea of receiving money from supporters. Rourke insisted that accepting donations from fans would go against his personal principles. He said he has never asked for charity and never intends to. According to him, anyone who donated to the fundraiser should receive their money back because he did not approve the campaign in the first place. That moment only added more attention to an already dramatic story. Some fans praised the actor for maintaining his independence and pride. They said his refusal to accept money showed that he still values personal responsibility and self-reliance. Others questioned whether rejecting the donations was the right decision, especially when the money could have easily covered the unpaid rent and potentially prevented eviction. But for anyone familiar with Mickey Rourke's personality, the reaction was not entirely surprising. Throughout his career, Rourke has built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most fiercely independent and unpredictable figures. He has never been known for following the typical path of a movie star. To truly understand why this latest chapter has captured so much attention, it helps to look back at the extraordinary journey that brought Mickey Rourke to this point. Rourke first entered Hollywood spotlight in the early 1980s. At the time, he quickly developed a reputation as a deeply committed actor with an almost dangerous level of intensity. His performances felt raw, emotional, and authentic in a way that few actors could match. Early films introduced him as a powerful new presence in Hollywood, but it wasn't long before he became one of the most talked about actors of his generation. Movies like 9½ Weeks helped turn him into an international sensation, while other roles showcased his ability to portray complex and troubled characters with remarkable realism. Critics often described his acting style as fearless. Directors praised his willingness to fully immerse himself in a role, sometimes to the point where the line between character and reality seemed to disappear. There were stories from film sets where Rourke stayed completely in character between takes. He believed that the best performances came from complete emotional honesty, even if it meant pushing himself to uncomfortable extremes. At one point, many believed Mickey Rourke was destined to become one of the greatest actors of his era, but fame never seemed to sit comfortably with him. Unlike many Hollywood stars who carefully manage their public image, Rourke often spoke openly about his frustrations with the film industry. He criticized studio politics, questioned the way actors were treated, and made it clear that he did not enjoy the celebrity lifestyle that came with success. Eventually, those frustrations led him to make one of the most shocking career decisions in Hollywood history. At the height of his fame, Mickey Rourke walked away from acting to pursue professional boxing. For most actors, leaving Hollywood voluntarily would be unthinkable, but for Rourke, Boxing had always been a passion. Long before he became famous, he had trained as a fighter. When he stepped into the boxing ring professionally, he did so with the same intensity he brought to his acting roles. The sport, however, came with a brutal cost. Boxing is unforgiving, and Rourke absorbed significant punishment during his fights. Over time, the physical damage began to show. Injuries to his face required multiple surgeries, and the physical toll of the sport became impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, his absence from Hollywood had lasting consequences. When he eventually attempted to return to acting, the industry had changed. Roles were harder to find, and the once promising superstar struggled to rebuild his career. For a time, it appeared that Mickey Rourke's Hollywood story might end in quiet obscurity. Then, in 2008, everything changed. Rourke was cast in a film that would become one of the most powerful comeback stories in modern cinema. The movie told the story of an aging professional wrestler struggling with fading fame, personal regrets, and the harsh realities of life after the spotlight. The role seemed almost eerily similar to Rourke's own life. When the movie was released, audiences and critics were stunned by his performance. The emotional honesty he brought to the character resonated deeply with viewers. The performance earned him widespread acclaim and an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. Suddenly, Mickey Rourke was back. The comeback reminded the world of the incredible talent that had once made him one of Hollywood's most respected performers. Yet, even after that triumphant return, Rourke's career continued to follow an unpredictable path. He appeared in various films over the years, sometimes delivering powerful performances, and other times stepping away from the spotlight for long stretches. Outside of acting, his outspoken personality continued to generate headlines. He never seemed interested in presenting a polished public image. Instead, he remained unapologetically himself. Now, with the eviction controversy making waves, many people see it as another chapter in a life that has always been filled with unexpected twists. Some fans believe this moment could eventually lead to another comeback. Others worry that it reflects deeper struggles. But if there is one thing history has shown, it is that Mickey Rourke has an unusual ability to survive situations that might end other careers. From rising star to boxing ring warrior, from career collapse to award-winning comeback, and now from eviction headlines to another moment of public scrutiny, his life has unfolded like a story full of dramatic turns. And perhaps that is why so many people remain fascinated by him. Because Mickey Rourke has never been a typical Hollywood star. He has always been something else entirely, an artist, a fighter, a rebel, and a survivor whose life continues to play out in ways no one could have predicted. Whether this latest controversy becomes another turning point or simply another chapter in a long and complicated journey is something only time will reveal. But one thing is certain. Even after decades in the spotlight, Mickey Rourke still knows how to capture the world's attention. And right now, the world is watching to see what happens next.